Hey, it's Jay, and I'm here today with a book review of A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sara Bernard. So this is the third book review I've recorded for today, and my voice is dead, which is unfair, and I'm wearing the same clothes and makeup, and it's all good, but I'm dying. So I'm going to start off by saying I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I binge read it in 7 hours, and I did nothing else that day except finish another book, which maybe I have an issue with books. Nah. Anyway, this book is about a character named Steffi who can hear, but she is mute, and this boy Reese, who is deaf and can technically speak, but he doesn't use his voice that much, and so they communicate by sign language. Reese is a new kid, and he gets assigned to Steffi because she can read sign language, and they become friends and eventually lovers. And the book chronicles their relationship and the bumps in the road of having to deal with one of them being deaf and one of them being mute. And this is adorable. Like, look at this cover. This is one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. And the inside is a gorgeous red. And as you can tell by all the purple, by all the blue, pink, and then like 3 yellows, there's a lot of positive things about this, which I'm going to be talking about. One thing I found interesting is that the 2 main characters get together pretty quickly. Like, usually it'll take at least a full book for characters to get together, or if it's a standalone, they get together at the end. But in this, they get together about a third of the way through or something, and it chronicles their relationship, which was adorable and realistic and interesting due to their disabilities. And again, I read this book in 7 hours, partly because the pacing, which made it easy to follow and stay engaged. The story was adorable overall. The writing was good. The relationships were realistic. Both the main romantic relationship and relationship with family members. From the very first page, I was hooked on Sara Bernard's writing style, because at first I thought it was going to be third person, but then it turns out it's in first person because Steffi is eavesdropping on these 2 girls' conversations. Now, as you can see by the 3 yellow flags, there were a few things in here that I have very rarely seen in YA books, or books at all, or I've never seen. The first thing was that teenagers went trick-or-treating, and in real life, that's kind of a big deal to adults, because we're expected to not act childish and instead go to Halloween parties instead of trick-or-treating and getting free candy. But here it was just treated like a normal thing. The second thing I had never seen in a YA book was 1, the word vibrator, and 2, a brief discussion about the vibrator. I believe it was Steffi's mom who was talking about it, and she was saying that when she was 16, her mom had given her a vibrator, and I had never seen that mentioned in a YA novel. And along the same lines, the third thing that I see rarely is, maybe it's not as rare as I think, because this is a romance novel and I don't really read romance. But there was a brief sex scene. There was nothing too descriptive, but like there was a sex scene and there was a scene leading up to the sex scene, and it was where Steffi and Reese were going through the bases and they're touching each other, and there's a moment where Steffi's like, am I doing this right? I don't know. And it was just realistic reaction for a teenager exploring the bases to have when they don't know what they're doing. But there were a lot of passages that were really well written to me, and a couple quotes. I think 1 I loved from the book. I lied, it's just 1. And I wanted to read this the moment I finished it, but I couldn't because I had educational obligations. And both Reese and Steffi are adorable, and I want a Reese. And even though there were parts that were stressful, as in any relationship, it ended up being alright and a positive ending. Steph has 4 parents because her biological parents are divorced, and then each of them got remarried. And one of them has another kid, so she has a half sibling and a no, she's the only kid for her father, but no, only kid for her mom, but her father has another kid with his new wife. But her stepmom's name is Lucy, and it's talking about depression and sadness and stuff. And the quote is, "Lucy's sadness was so total and she was so lost in it that it didn't matter that we all knew why it happened. Knowing the cause didn't give us a cure. Lucy had to rely on what she called the 3 T's: tears, time, and talk. The only things that really help in the end." And I thought that was so true, because tears, because sometimes your body just needs to purge sadness from its body. Time, because time heals all wounds. And talk, because venting psychologically is an important healing step. And there is a scene about halfway through where Reese invites Steffi to his old school to meet his friends who are also deaf. And there's a scene where they're kind of hanging out and Reese I spelled Reese wrong. Oh well. I spelled Reese wrong in my Goodreads review. And he kind of leads Steffi over to beanbag and lets her sit between his legs, where she feels so guarded and secure, and that every now and then she'll tense up, and that he'll like relax her, and it's so adorable. And there's another part I liked where Steffi is talking about her uncle. Oh yeah, it takes place in Britain, where her uncle Geoff had wanted for her to learn BSL, and that she realized that it wasn't about the language itself, but rather giving her a choice, because she doesn't really like to talk, and so she had the option of using sign language. And there's a couple scenes where Reese and Steffi are communicating, and like it's half through sign language and half writing, and the way it is formatted is really interesting. And it was surprisingly easy to follow. The first passage of the 2nd chapter changed my life. It's amazing. Here are 3 separate but similar things. Similar things. Shyness, introversion, and social anxiety. You can have 1, 2, or all 3 of these things simultaneously. A lot of the time, people think they're all the same thing, but that's not true. Extroverts can be shy, introverts can be bold, and a condition like anxiety can strike whatever kind of social animal you are. Lots of people are shy. Shy is normal. A bit of anxiety is normal. Throw the 2 together, add some kind of brain signal error, a no entry sign on the neural highway from my brain to my mouth, perhaps, that no one really knows, and you have me, Silent Steffi. And I love it, because everyone thinks being an introvert is bad, but it's not, and it differentiates, and it's amazing. So that's all I've got for today. If you like this video and their adorableness, hit thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the little bell so you can get notified whenever I upload. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday. And down in the description are links to my social medias, including my Goodreads, where I wrote this review. I've been taking peeks at for notes. And I will see you in another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.